All right, coming off of North Wilkesboro last weekend, a lot of chatter about the surface. To pave or not to pave? We had concrete, we had asphalt, we had patches. This weekend, we're going about 70 or 80 miles down the road to Charlotte Motor Speedway, the most temperature-sensitive racetrack that we race on. What's that going to look like?
They give us a practice on Saturdays just before or just after. It was like a 3 o'clock practice on Saturdays.
Oh, yeah.
We talk about not even running that practice.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was so different than this racetrack you're going to race on. The turns 3 and 4 there seems like it just sets up and it's dead in the sun. So when you get to midday in that place, you couldn't make a car turn in 3 and 4 for anything.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't do anything. And 1 and 2 would be all right. And then as the sun went down from that, it just changed the whole racetrack. It's one of those places that it's really hard to get a hold of. And we start this race at 6 p.m.
Yes.
Gonna be right on the tail of that. I hate 3 and 4.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna run it. This race at 4 hours should put us into about 10 p.m. We're gonna be 2 hours into the darkness.
Yeah.
The race will change immensely. Being able to keep up with your race car, big deal here. Of all things,
Yeah.
You've been through it.
Yeah.
Your car doesn't handle anything like it will at the end when it starts a race.
No, and listen, you talk about the beginning of the race. As the sun goes down and that 1 and 2 gets in the shade, that's where a driver takes a break because he knows, I got grip. But he gets to 3 and 4 and has, hold your breath until you come off and then you take a breath, then you get back to 1 and 2 again. It's amazing to me how the grooves change. You get to the bottom, you can run the middle of the racetrack, you can run up next to the wall, but it all depends on temperature. Every bit of it does. I was over there a million times, and one of the first times I ever went, I got my car driving really good, and my dad said, "Boy, it's going to be terrible." And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "If it drives good now, it will be terrible when they start." So you need it to drive terrible right now, which was totally backwards of my way of thinking.
As a crew chief, I'm going to start thinking about, okay, you got that thing driving great. How do I make it where I've got enough adjustability to keep up with the racetrack? Add on top of that, we've added resin to the middle and top grooves, so the top lanes actually play more into this race than they used to back when you were driving. It's going to be a challenge for all these crews and drivers to keep up with where they go and to have enough adjustability in the race cars to keep up with the fact that as a racetrack cools and gains some grip, where can I continue to make my car a little better?
So 600-mile race, and we talk about adding resin to the upper grooves of the racetrack. How long does the resin last? Will it last the whole race? We hear so many times, it's gone away, and you hear them, they key up that mic and then they got to find another place.
Yeah, it'll be there, but it may not be as strong. And as the racetrack cools down, you know this, the bottom that doesn't have the resin, but it gains grip just from cooling down.
Yeah.
So the bottom comes back into play. It's the longest race of the season with the most temperamental racetrack. It's a challenge for everybody sitting in the boxes.
So you know it, it's bragging rights for all these teams that are here in Charlotte. It's 600 miles, the only 600-mile race in the country that's not an endurance race, that doesn't take 2 drivers.
Yep.
It's just 1 driver and 1 team. 4 stages.
Yes.
10 extra points on the line.
Yeah.
What does that do to your job?
Well, you got to chase all of them. It's another opportunity. When you're looking at the points, we've just crossed the halfway point of the season, right? We're 13 down, 13 to go in the regular season. This is an opportunity to go create some separation, to move yourselves up the points. You don't want to be the guy that has a problem and loses those opportunities. This can be a little bit bigger shuffle of a race for where the points go. So you're trying to make sure you're on top of all that. Like you talked about, a good driving car at this point doesn't run very well at the end. So how do I keep up with that? How do I keep myself in position to score those stage points in all 3 of the stage breaks and still be in a position to win this race?
You're working with Jimmy Johnson this weekend. Tell me about your car.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to look a lot like probably 40 other cars there, with the paint schemes, because this is a very patriotic paint scheme. We're going to bring the stars. You got blue, red, white, and blue tied into it. It's going to be fun. Memorial Day weekend, it's a special weekend honoring our service members. And if you look at it, really, NASCAR does a great job of supporting our armed services. And this is one where we get to honor them and carry them along. You'll see fallen service members' names on the windshields and stories that go along with it. It'll be a special weekend.